Welcome to the New Media Lab. I am your host, Rob Southgate. Today we've got Louise Congdon. He is a podcaster, an influencer, and a person who teaches people how to make money with podcasting. What he tells us today can be applied to blogging, YouTube, podcasting, really any type of content creation. So get your pens out, take some notes, because this is a good one. Louise, welcome to the New Media Lab. I am so excited to have you here. This is just amazing. I think you and I have a lot to talk about.
We could talk all day, it seems like.
Yeah, and you know what? We've barely talked, so this is going to be ugly, man. This is going to be a long one. So before we get into one of the reasons I wanted to have you on here, I want to address a couple of things. First of all, the way we met was I joined a Facebook group, a podcaster Facebook group, and I'm on a bunch of them. Which was the one that you run?
There's the Podcast Exchange group and Podcasters Hangout, and that was probably where we met, in the Podcasters Hangout, maybe?
Yeah, well, I'm on both of them, and it was one that you said you run, and I was like, okay, cool. And I didn't know that, though, and I just posted something about an event we have coming up, and you wrote to me, and you're like, hey, man, can I get some details? You posted on my page, and then I looked you up, and I went, we really need to talk.
Definitely.
That's how it happened. Louise, I want you to tell the audience who you are, what you do. Tell them about your podcasts. Lay it out there. This is about you, man.
Yeah, definitely. So my name is Louise Congdon, and I am the podcaster's secret weapon, and I'm also a master networker. That is really the business that I'm in. You know, while we help people build digital courses, create funnels, websites, and podcasts, the biggest thing that I do is networking, right? Because there's a tool that we use to get to any goal, and my tool is networking. It has been the distinctor, right? But of course, it's not just me. It's my partner, Kamala Chambers, co-hosts 2 podcasts with me. She builds out digital products, creates sales funnels and websites. So now you couple a networker with someone that can really, build sales funnels and talk to people through the written platform, and can build websites and craft out easy to use and user-friendly membership sites. Once you couple all of that, what ends up happening is you have a dynamic duo that can really grow exponentially, very powerfully, very quickly. And so I'm just really excited to be here and tell you and your audience about what Kamala and I are doing and how our services work and what we're up to, and hopefully provide some free value so that after this interview, all of you can walk away, have something you can use today. And hey, if you want, look me up and be like, say hi, or maybe purchase a product. But, first I want to give you value. So, it's great to be here.
Yeah, man. Well, and the thing is, I've read a lot of your stuff now since we met, and I've found that, you do have the same philosophy I do, which is give a lot away, inform people. If beyond that they want to get deeper, then there's a value to it. And I think that's something that a lot of people in this new media thing kind of have trouble with. Like, they either just give it all away, or they overvalue it, and they're afraid to let anything go. You know what I mean? That's right. Yeah. And I like how you're handling this, and you are right. Networking is such a key. Partnering, such a key. I think that you've got some great things going on. Now, the podcast you do, can you tell me about the podcast a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. So we do 2 different shows. One of them is called the Lasting Love Connection podcast. That is all about love, having a relationship that lasts. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we have the Thriving Launch podcast, which is all about business, having a thriving business, having launches that go really big online. So being able to release a product online, or be able to release a podcast, because it's one thing to build something, but it's not build it and they will come. It's build it and then tell them that you're there, and spend a lot of time letting people know that you're there, right? Because people say it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I'd like to add one more thing. It's who knows you, right? And so you have to get out there so people know who you are. And this is why companies, like Pepsi, Nike, Adidas, every single company brand name that I could shoot out that is a huge name, Oprah, they're spending millions up to billions of dollars annually promoting their business, because they know that if you find out about them, if you learn about them, then what's going to happen, you keep seeing them. And then eventually, we start going, oh, what is that product? Oh, I feel familiar with it. I feel comfortable with it. Yeah, I'm going to buy it, or I'm going to Google it and see who they are. Oh my God, I needed a car. I'm going to get a Toyota. But the truth of the matter is when we're doing that, it's because we've seen the billboards, we've seen the TV commercials, right? But in business to business or, smaller businesses like Calm and myself, we're not a $1 billion business, and we're not going to stupidly spend our money on a billboard that costs thousands of dollars to have up and then, tens of thousands of dollars to create and all that, right? We've got to find smarter strategies and things that work better. In fact, I think if some of these bigger companies came and researched some of these way that smaller business owners are catapulting and getting more attention to their business, they might actually utilize their money in a more intelligent way. And so that's what we do is we help people intelligently find ways so that people can learn about us, and so people can learn about them if they hire us to work with them.
Yeah. Yeah. You're speaking my language, man. I love it. So, okay. So right there, I'll make sure we put in the show notes your podcasts and links to your stuff, because I think people are going to definitely want to take advantage of some of the things you have to offer. When you wrote to me, when we first started talking, and I invited you to come on New Media Lab, you mentioned that you teach a couple of different courses. You actually had 3, and you said, I would love to talk about any of these. When we talked today, though, we both really liked one of them for the audience here. You do one about profiting from podcasting, profiting from Facebook.
That's right. I do one on both. But
you do one on both, but the Facebook one is the one we want to talk about today.
That's right. We got excited about Facebook.
So, everyone's sitting there going, wait a minute, I'm a podcaster. How do I? Guess what? You're going to have to find out later, because we're going to talk about profiting from Facebook. This is a really controversial one, especially with like my network of people, because so many of them, it seems like they just have rejected Facebook. They go, no, it doesn't do anything for you. And either that or they put all their eggs in it. And it's like, well, no, that doesn't really work either. I'm of the mindset that it is a wonderful tool. You just got to figure out how to use it properly. And I know for a fact there are people profiting from it. Look at Kim Garst. Do you know who that is? The marketer?
Kim Garst is profiting huge time, in a lot of ways, primarily through Twitter. That's her big thing. Right?
Yeah, huge on Twitter. But you know what? I see her stuff on Facebook all the time. And it's like, you know what? She's doing it very effectively. I don't feel like I'm getting spammed. She's great at it. So let's hear it. What do you have to say about this?
Well, the thing about Facebook, and one of the things that I'm talking about teaching people, and I have a course coming up, but guys, I'm going to just give you whatever I can in this amount of time. Clearly, we only have 30 minutes, so I can't teach you the whole system because this is a 30-day course. But we'll do whatever we can right now. So profit from Facebook course without spending a penny is a method of how to become a brand, how to become recognized leader and expert and authority inside of Facebook purely without ads. You don't even need a fan page for this. You just use your own personal page. So it's a lot simpler, right? It's not going to get complicated. When I first started a couple of years ago, I was homeless, right? And then I had to figure out a way to create a business. It was just a little over a year and a half ago, actually, that we launched our online business, right? And I didn't really have any money, so I had to figure out a way to do this without spending money. And so I went to Facebook and I started noticing, wait, there's a lot of big names here. There's a lot of people in here. There's a lot of people I can meet and network with and connect with and bring value to, and they can bring value to me. And there's a lot of people that are obviously going to buy, right? Because one of our guests from our shows was Russell Brunson, the creator of ClickFunnels and .com Secrets, the book. And one of the things that he says is that where people congregate, there's money to be made, right? And that's so true. I mean, if you find a city center and there's tons of people, that's where the panhandlers go, right? And that's where the people that have stuff to sell go. And that's, companies strategically try to place their businesses where people are at, right? Starbucks is not going to open up a store in an alleyway where there's nobody. That would just be dumb. Starbucks is big enough that maybe they'll start getting traffic just by their name alone, but they don't put themselves out in like a really poor neighborhood where there's nobody. They strategically place themselves where there's a lot of traffic. And that's the same thing with Facebook. There's billions of people on Facebook. It's one of the largest nations in the country if you add up all the people there. So what we want to do is we want to place ourselves so people start noticing us, right? And every time that we're inside of Facebook, every time that we're scrolling through, every time that we're posting, reading, commenting, liking, sharing, we are branding ourselves, right? People are seeing that. And hopefully we're not doing this idly anymore, because the way I see it is, the way at least I began to see it was, wait, I like to be here a lot, and ideally everything in my life I can figure out a way to build it in so it's not an out of my way thing, but it's a part of my day kind of thing. So for example, my dad rides his bike to work 10 miles there, 10 miles home. He's built his workout into his life. So then when he gets home and he's tired and it's like 7 or 8 p.m. and he's got to cook food for the kids and clean the house and all of that, and then go, oh man, I'm so out of shape. I got to go to the gym now. Like, you know, and that's kind of
he's already taken care of it, right?
That's right. And that's what the Profit from Facebook course is all about, and the methods. And, you know, you're welcome to ask me any questions and I will answer them. And guys, I'll give away whatever I can.
Okay. Well, wow. Boy, you laid it on me there, didn't you? You know what? Before we get into that, I want to ask something. You mentioned that you were homeless and you had to do it on a shoestring. I don't know if you know our story here. I don't know if you dug into any of that.
I don't know. You know, we just recently ran into each other like less than a week ago, Rob. So please do tell me.
Yeah. Well, I actually, and I don't know if the listener knows this unless they listen to ProfitCast. We were interviewed and told their whole story, but this is going back 3 years ago. I ended up getting 2 bachelor's degrees in my 40s. I went back to school, got my 2 bachelor's degrees and thought, okay, I'm going to work the rest of my life with a tie on and this is it. And as I was finishing these up, my wife, we're walking out of church and she turns to me and she says, you don't want to hear this. And I thought, uh-oh, you know, and she says, you're not going back to work. And I went, no, that's not the plan. And, you know, I resisted, but she knew. She kept saying, we're going to have to walk off a cliff. You've got to do this. You like podcasting. There's a network in your head. You're going to do it. And you know what? She's so super supportive with all this. But we did. We walked off a cliff 2 years ago. So you mentioned being homeless. I've gone 2 years without an income. I now have an almost 9-year-old.
Wow.
And you know what? You just walk off that cliff and you do it in faith. The only reason we're not homeless is because we live in a house that my parents own. And it's helped us out. Thank God, right? But they've been very supportive too. And I am the same way. We have built this network of 87 different titles on a shoestring. And we have taken the same approach you've talked about, making yourself an expert or whatever. I often get told that we're kind of like that band that other bands all dig. So the public doesn't know us really yet, but the bands do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That's
so
right.
I think that that's kind of how you built something from nothing, and I think there's a lesson in there for people. Now, if you're on Facebook and you're trying to sell something, step one, okay? Now, we're going to talk specifically to new media people, content creators.
Mm-hmm.
Step one, I mean, obviously you have to have something that you're trying to sell, correct?
That's right.
So if it was me, we're going to use me as a case study here. I've got this big network.
Let's get you some free coaching, Rob.
How do I make some money?
Well, you've got a network. You're on Facebook, and do you have something to sell?
Other than my content?
Yeah, I mean, what do you have to sell? If someone was to Google you, if someone came to your website, if someone said, Rob, what do you do? What are they going to buy from you?
Wow. Right now, content. And that's something that they can get free. So I guess.
So you got to have something to sell first, Rob.
Yeah, man. No, I get you.
But you know what? You can position yourself as an expert before you have something to sell. So even if you're like, you know what, I don't have something to sell yet, but this is what I'd like to sell. You know, what would you like to sell? If you could sell something, what would you be selling? I mean, whether it's a thing that you're an expert at, it could be podcasting services, it could be networking, it could be meetups. What would you sell?
So you know what? That's beautiful that you said that, because one of the goals for this year is I'm writing a book based on this show. Mm-hmm. And that will give me a physical thing to sell. Mm-hmm. I also do consulting for podcasting. I do some small business consulting, things like that. So I do have things to sell. It's just my first thought was the content I have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you do have some stuff to sell. Do you have any kind of larger stuff to sell? So here's the thing is that if you're selling like a $9 PDF, is it really worth your time to try to manually, make those sales? I mean, you could try to just build an email list. That would even be better than trying to sell a $9 product. But ideally, either you have a sales funnel, some sort of funnel set up leading to a sale. So you have something that you're going to give away for free. So you can build an email list so you can sell something later. But ideally, I don't really like to work too hard for $9. That's why I don't work a 9 to 5 anymore. So, let's just say, Rob, you have a $200 package. Someone can buy coaching with Rob for
there you go, which is perfect.
Bucks,
I've got it. I've actually got it on my website. I've got a package like that. So there we go.
You've got it packaged. And what is that package?
It is basically consulting about a podcast. If you're trying to launch one, they can pay to sit down with me, and I will coach them through the whole thing.
Perfect. So I'm Rob, and I've got a consulting package. Awesome. The only thing that's missing is nobody knows who the hell I am, and nobody knows what the hell I do, and so hardly anybody's going to buy it. And I might get lucky here and there, right? I might have 200 friends, and once a month or a couple times a year, somebody buys from me, right? But to really build a scalable business, we need people buying from us at least like a couple times a week, right? Or we need one client that can pay us $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. It depends where you're at financially. Like when I first started, it was like, let me just get that $500. Let me just make $20. Let me sell this $9 booklet, right? And so I push those $9 booklets, but it is honestly it's practically as much work to sell a $9 product as it is to sell a $100 product, as it is a $200 product, especially when you're dealing person to person, or even when you're dealing to masses, unless you have automated systems, right? Because if you have an automated system, all you got to do is drive people to the system. It takes care of them, and you don't really have to be there too much. But if you don't have all that set up, and that's where I was at, right? So I wrote a $9 booklet, but what I don't want a bunch of $9. How many freaking $9 booklets do I have to sell?
Yeah,
right. I have to
no
sell
kidding.
one every hour. And I'm not a New York Times best-selling author here, so that's not going to happen for me anyways. And it wasn't going to happen when I was a homeless guy that nobody knew. So what I wanted to sell was a $500 package, right? And I wanted to sell a couple hours of coaching with me. So here's the first thing you do, Rob, is you start going inside of Facebook and you start making cool posts. People pay attention to people that are doing cool things. It's like in dating, hardly any woman or man is going to be attracted to that down and out, badly dressed, negative person that just, and quiet and shy. And then
you got to dress it up.
Yeah. So you got to look good. You got to be positive. Like I'm attracted to people who are positive, exciting, and doing cool things. I mean, that's what really makes my business thrive is people notice me, right? I'm not yelling at the top of a mountain for people, but I am like, hey, I'm Luis. This is the cool stuff I'm doing. And if you'd like to join me, awesome. And if I see other people doing cool things, I'm like, hey, I want to join you. That looks cool, right? And those are the kind of people that people kind of get magnetized towards. In a marketing way, the way we can do that. And it's funny, I talked to this guy earlier and he was like, I don't even know what you're doing, but I know you're making a lot of money on Facebook. What the heck is it that you're doing? And I was like, you don't know what I'm doing, but you've benefited immensely from it. And he's like, yeah, I have. I mean, you've done all sorts of stuff for me and I've made extra money. I've got new clients. My podcast has grown. I've made connections. But I didn't even really know that you were doing it through Facebook. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty much like 90% through there. So the first thing that Rob needs to do is if Rob has a cool guest on his podcast, you need to write a Facebook post saying, hey guys, on, my show, throw in the title, whatever show or, book or whatever it is that you're up to. Say, hey, today on my show, we had Luis Congdon on the show and it was so cool. We talked about profiting from Facebook. Wow, I was blown away. You guys should check it out. It's going to come out next week. People see that. Now, the difference between people liking, commenting, and just an impression is a really important word to me as a marketer. And that's not the title I use. It's just kind of a different hat I'm wearing at the moment. An impression is just somebody seeing something, right? They're getting like a hand pushed on them and it says, Luis, right? And it's just a little push. And then they're like, oh yeah, Luis. And the more times people see that stuff, the more comfortable they become with it, right? There's statistics saying that most people that are married met each other at work. Why is that? Well, pretty simply put is because they spend more time. Most of us spend more time at work than anywhere else. So of course we're probably going to be like, whoa, this person makes me feel comfortable. I've spent the time to open up with them. I've spent the time to let them into my world, vice versa. Compared to if you go to a bar, it's like I've got 10 minutes to meet this woman and impress her and then bring her home or impress her, get her phone number, hang out with her, cultivate a relationship. Like that is a really difficult thing to do. compared to at work, it's like, hey, I see you every day from 9 to 5. I know who you are.
Right.
You know?
Makes sense.
So the same thing with Facebook. We want to start making posts. Hey guys, I was at the gym. It was really cool. And, this happened. If so you want to mix it up, tell a little bit of personal stuff about yourself, because people relate to personalities, right? Nowadays with social media, we're not just relating to brands as much anymore. Even brands are starting to try to become personalities, right? And that's why they hire actors, and that's why they're even getting on social media, because we want a person. This is why it's somebody like Kim Kardashian or even Donald Trump. They're famous. They're probably more famous than current companies that are huge right now, right? They're in the forefront because they're personalities. They have things going on. They're people. They're kind of weird sometimes. They're goofy. They're cool. They're everything. And so be that way on Facebook too, is be a little bit of everything. But don't forget to kind of brag about yourself. And we can do this in a classy way. I posted a video the other day of me lifting weights at the gym. I was squatting like 150 pounds on the front of my body, which is a lot harder than on your shoulders. On the back of my shoulders, I could do a lot more. A little video like that goes to people, wow, that guy's in shape. He's healthy. He's running a successful business. He's got an awesome partner. And they're seeing all these different things. So, Rob, you need to go inside of Facebook, start telling people, hey, I just did this on my podcast. Hey, my podcast did that. I just met so-and-so because of my podcast. We just had so many downloads on my show. Wow, I just landed an awesome client for podcast coaching. If you're interested, PM me, and I'm going to teach you everything that you need to know about podcasts. I'll make it super simple. Now, people are going to get nervous when I tell people about your services. Don't worry about it. People are going to be like, well, Facebook is like a place where I should post pictures of my food and my moods, right? And nothing else. Well, yes and no, because a part of your life is what you do for work and what you're excited about. And what's wrong with enrolling other people or bringing other people into your business as well? One of the things I've learned about spirituality is the biggest, in a lot of walks of spirituality, evangelism is one of the biggest things we can do, right? Evangelism is almost the purpose of for Christians. A lot of them is evangelism is incredibly important. I think in business, if we really believe what we're doing and we believe that we're actually adding value to our lives and the people around us, then why wouldn't we want to, kind of in parentheses, evangelize, right? Why wouldn't I want people to go, look, man, I was homeless 2 years ago. I was broke as hell. I was sleeping in a park. I was down and out. I struggled. I didn't really believe in myself. And I had to figure out a way to turn this around. I started podcasting. I met celebrities. And I started posting on Facebook the cool things that I was doing. And then somebody came to me and offered to pay me $10,000 to take over their podcasting stuff. And another guy came and said, teach me how to do this Facebook stuff because I'm noticing you're making a lot of money there. Why wouldn't I want another person who's homeless or another person who is $1,000. They've got $1,000 of savings and they have a 9-to-5 that they hate. Why wouldn't I want them to give me their $1,000 so I could teach them how to take that 1,000 and turn it into 5? Or why wouldn't I want to teach somebody who's got $50,000 or $1 million and teach them how to multiply that money? But more than that, what I'm giving is an opportunity for more expressed freedom, right? Because wouldn't you feel, Rob, if you got extra clients coming to you and more guests clamoring at your door and screaming to be interviewed by you and more people tweeting and sharing your name and being excited fans about you and people giving you praise, wouldn't you feel like that would be a good thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Makes a lot of sense, man.
So I think it's really important in business that we take pride in what we do. It's like our business is our child. And, me as a parent, I'm very proud to brag about my kid, right? Very proud. And me as a partner, to Kamala, I'm extremely proud to brag about her. Now, I don't have a kid right now. I was a co-parent for nearly 5 years, but I still kind of like refer to him as kind of like my kid. But I want to brag about these people around me, like Kamala is one of the most special people in my life, and I will dote on her and I will brag about her day and night. My business is the same thing. So I would encourage that for you, Rob. And I see that you've done it. When you posted inside that group about your meetup, look what it did. A guy I'm one of the key influencers inside the podcasting world. There's many people that are key influencers. I consider myself one of the top. I reached out to you because I was like, whoa, that looks cool, man. This guy's having a meetup. He's brave. He's telling people about it. And I want to participate in it, right? because you were like, hey, I'm doing cool stuff. You guys should check it out. So that I just say do more of that.
You know what? That's all solid advice. And it's actually what I'm doing. So, I mean, I'm building something here, and I think you've really nailed a lot of it. Now, let's boil it down because we don't have a lot of time left. Let's boil it down. Somebody wants to profit on Facebook. What you're telling them is figure out what you're selling.
Mm-hmm.
Brag about it. Not saying be braggy, but let people know. Don't be afraid to let people know. And be genuine, but be cool. Like, hey, man, this is what I'm doing. I'm really excited about it. I'm cool. And that's going to attract. You're using the law of attraction, right?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So on Facebook itself, now you said you don't spend a dime. This is another thing that people often will bring up is, oh, well, if I pay it, does that boost post thing? You're not saying do any of that. You're saying just post, right?
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I'm definitely saying post, but have strategic posts, have some posts where you're telling stories, have some posts where you have some videos, So the other day, for example, I'm going to share a little bit of, like, I don't want to just be like the coolest guy on the planet. I want you to know that I'm a human being and that, as I evolve and grow and my business grows and attention grows, I also get negative attention, So this woman had invited me on her show. She saw me speak at an event. I made close to $12,000 in a 25-minute conversation, or 25-minute talk in front of an audience. Now I'll still have to do the work with the clients.
Right, of course.
But it's still pretty damn awesome to have nearly $12,000 people sign up and say, yeah, I'm willing to take that course with you, right? And pay you on the spot. Now I've got the money. Now I've got to deliver the work. But here's the thing, is afterwards, she said, I saw your talk, and I don't really think that you and I are in alignment with the way that we're doing business and whatnot. And so I'd prefer not to have you on my show anymore. and so that, that happens. That happens as we're doing stuff. And I turn that experience, this is something that we should be doing in social media, is take those experiences and make a little story out of it. So yesterday I wrote a story and I was like, look, everybody's going to have some haters. Some people aren't going to like you because you're short, you're white, you're blonde, you're black, you've got a weird accent, or maybe you just didn't say hi to them in the right way on a particular Saturday and now they think something about you. And that, for me, it was like that woman made a decision about me without really taking the time to ask me questions or really get to know me. And that was her decision. So I made a whole post talking about that. And people loved it. People loved it. They commented. The next day, I got a bunch of emails and a bunch of Facebook comments from people saying, Luis, I love you. You've impacted my life. This is what you've done for me. The other day, a guy wrote me, just today, a guy wrote me and said, Luis, because of you, I'm getting $10,000 in Google AdWords given to me for free to my nonprofit. That's what you've done for me. So that kind of stuff, make stories. Your dog smells weird. Write a little story about that. And all the dog lovers are going to be like, yeah, my dog smells weird too, or, whatever.
Right. Connect with people through your voice. Yeah.
Exactly. But don't ever forget that it's really important that every once in a while, if you listen to radio, about 5-10% of radio is pitching, right? Around 5-10% of radio is a commercial. So don't forget that your Facebook feed and what you're sharing, 5 or 10% can be a commercial. So every once in a while, hey, today I got a chance to speak to Luis Congdon. We talked about podcasting, profiting from Facebook. And here's the thing. A lot of people want to get started with podcasting. They don't know how to do it. I'm Rob. I know exactly what you should be doing. I've been doing this for 10 years. I've worked with et cetera, et cetera. Sign up here. Let's work together. I'll make it easy for you. And to do that kind of stuff every once in a while too.
All right. Well, Luis, this was solid. This was fun. I definitely want to invite you back on. We definitely are going to have people asking about this, how to profit with podcasting. And just the networking thing in general. I know you also do a lot of talking about networking. So at some point in the future, I am going to definitely reach out to you, invite you back on. But for now, I want to thank you, and I want you to give your social media, tell people how they can get in touch with you. We will put it in the show notes, but I want you to tell them right now.
Everything about me can be found at thrivinglaunch.com. Thrivinglaunch.com. You can find all my Twitter, my Instagram, my Facebook group. Thrivinglaunch.com will be the one place to go to just have anything and everything you need to know about me and my shows.
All right. Sounds good. All right, Luis, thank you again. I look forward to talking to you again in the future.
You too. Thank you so much, Rob. And thank you, everybody in the audience. It's been awesome to spend some time with you. I look forward to connecting with all of you.
I've put Luis's contact information in the show notes. If you'd like to reach me and ask questions or make comments, email me at southgatemediagroup@gmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at @rsouthgate. Find us on Facebook. Just look up Southgate Media Group. That's it, everybody. Thank you again for listening. I can't wait until next week. Until then, keep creating.